Well, they say that you've got to spend money to make money. And that's today's assignment, how to make money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my hard-earned royalty spondulics, and I'm going to hire an unsuspecting rube to make today's video about how to draw money. So he's going to take it away, and I hope you learn as much from him as you do from me. Meanwhile, I'm busy doing some paperwork. Hey, today let's make some money. Now, take a bill. Could be $1, could be €1, could be whatever you have handy. And, if you look at it, it's an incredibly familiar thing. But the more closely you look at it, the stranger it is, actually, because there's all kinds of complexity built into its design so people don't forge it. Now, if you crumple it, you make it even more good. But how do you draw it? It's so complex and unusual and unfamiliar, which is what makes it interesting to draw in the first place, right? So we're going to break it down into stages, and I'm going to use different pens to show the different sort of parts of the drawing. First of all, I'm going to do a contour drawing, which is to draw the outside edges of the entire shape of the bill. I'm using Copic multi-liner pens to draw with, and first I'm going to use the 1.0, the fattest one. But one of the lines of this bill is just very straight, and it could go on forever. How do I figure out how long it is? Well, I measure it against the part of the bill that has landmarks to it, curves and bumps. So this straight line is the equivalent of about that much of the random part. Now I can continue with confidence and draw the rest of it. Okay, so we've got our outline. Next, we're going to draw the folds. We're going to draw the inside landmarks of the bill. Now I switch to the 0.8 Copic multi-liner to draw the inside. Next, we move on to the actual printing on the bill itself. And because we have the landmarks breaking down the bill into sections, we can fill in those bits and pieces by looking at them carefully. Now I'm switching pens again, and I'm using the 0.1 Copic multi-liner. I work my way across the bill, filling in the printing as I go. It's actually getting easier because I have so many landmarks now to show me where I am, and filling in kind of little sections that are defined by the folds. Next, I add the shading across the bill. I want to be careful with my cross-hatching here, because if you get too heavy-handed, it starts to blend with the engraving, and it's hard to tell what's printed on the bill and what is shading. Some of it's literally there, lines that are literally there on the bill, and some of it is, representing different degrees of halftone. Finally, I add the shadow that the bill is throwing onto the table. The drawing still looks a little flat to me, so I've decided I'm going to add a bit of sumi ink. Sumi ink comes in a hard block, solid block. Put a little bit of water onto a dish, and then you rub the stick onto it to extract some ink. The ink goes on a little heavier than I anticipated, so I blot it with a towel, and now I can see the line work underneath the tone that I've added. I want the quality of the shadow to be much darker, so I use completely undiluted ink there. So here, this whole drawing took me, maybe 10 minutes, and that includes 3 different levels of pen and the sumi ink. So you see, you can draw anything, no matter how complicated it is. You just need to have a strategy to approach it. So first, draw the outside shape of it, then determine where the landmarks are. What breaks that big shape down into smaller shapes? When you've broken down those smaller shapes, you can work within each shape to make sure that it's accurate. And again, don't drive yourself crazy trying to make something look like a photograph. That's why we have cameras. But try and have fun, and try to do something that feels expressive, that reflects how you feel about the thing that you're drawing. This bill is sort of mangled, but it's also a beautiful piece of art in and of itself. So I try to kind of reflect that feeling, to think about that while I'm drawing it. A lot of it just comes out naturally and intuitively, and everybody has their own approach. So have fun, and don't be afraid of anything.